Let me name the voting members that are here for our audio recording. Commissioner Precinct 3, Kelly Blackburn. Myself, Bowie County Judge Sterling Lacey. Commissioner Precinct 4, Mike Carter. Commissioner Precinct 1, Sammy Stone. I declare that there is a quorum present. If you've not already done so, please sign the attendance sign-in sheet. Everyone is welcome to speak today. If you do speak, please sign the speaker's sign-in sheet following the format used by state agencies like the Department of Transportation. Here's what we're going to do. Each person signing the speaker's sign-in sheet will be given 5 minutes to speak. I'll have a little timer here, and a bell will go off at the end of the time. If you're still speaking, finish the sentence you're on, and then sit down. After everyone has had the opportunity to speak for 5 minutes, anyone wishing to speak for an additional 5 minutes will be allowed to do so, again in the order followed in the first round. And so it's not an effort to keep somebody from speaking more than 5. We want to make sure everybody gets 5 minutes. And then if somebody has some comments they didn't get a chance to finish, or they thought of listening to the other speakers, they're welcome to come back up and have another 5 minutes. And we'll do that until everybody's had a chance to say their piece tonight. I would ask that these who are signing to speak would come to the podium. And remember that you are addressing the court, and the one thing that I will not allow during the hearing is interaction between the public here. This is not to be a debate between members of the public. Nobody's to be interrupting you while you're speaking. And so you're addressing the court, but all the public would like to hear what you have to say. Our first sign-in was Carol Smith from Maud, Texas. Carol, where are you? There you are. If you'd come to the podium. You're ready? You may begin.
Well, one of the questions I had, Ms. Cherry had already answered, was how much this proposed increase was going to generate in money. I know the rollback election was only a small percentage, but it amounted to about $500,000. And my question on this proposed increase tax rate was how much it was going to generate. I think everybody here will agree from what's been going on that the county is in pretty serious business financially. If this is adopted, is there going to be a sunset on this tax rate, or is this something that's going to have to be redone somewhere down the road? Someone answer that?
Yes, and what I'm doing is making notes of questions you have, and I don't want, if we have a lengthy response, I don't want to take up your whole 5 minutes. If you have anything additional you'd like to say to us or ask us about.
Well, the thing, one of the gentlemen over here indicated that some of the financial problems date back 20 years. I don't know that. If they've been going on this long, the public should have been known about it, and the problems that are going on right now, I think most of y'all, with the exception of Mike Carter, have been around here doing this job for a while, and the taxpayers of this county want some responsible government. We've elected y'all to do a job for this county, and we expect a good job to be done. We didn't elect y'all to come up here, and those of the commissioners and you, Judge, that have been here for a while, if this problem's been going on for a long time, then they should have already been addressed before they got to this crisis point. And I'm giving Mike Carter a little bit of a pass on what's been going on, because he's been here a relatively short period of time. But in time, it's going to be judged on all of it. There's been a lot of finger pointing to this one and that one and other departments in this county about where the problems lie. And the finger pointing needs to stop. Y'all are responsible. You're the chief executive officer, financial officer. And the commissioners vote on where this money goes, the budget and that kind of thing. And we expect some responsible government and the money to be spent wisely. And the taxpayers, I think, myself, I'm just about taxed to the max on where I need to be on this property. That's about all I got to say.
All right, thank you. Commissioners, do you want to take time to stop and answer the citizens' concerns before we start the next?
Sure, that's fine with me.
How much money are we talking about raising more this year than last year is the question. Would we be agreed that it's the $5.1 million it'll take to pay back the tax anticipation note? Commissioner Blackburn, would that?
The increase that he's talking about, I think, is how much does it bring in? It brings in 3.7 million is what it brings in. And then the new property that was built, the appraised value on them brings in an additional, let me see, let me get my glasses, 236,000, is that correct? Is that what y'all have got? So it brings in 3.9 million more. Bring, and we have a $5 million note in addition to the fees that have charged us in obtaining the note that has to be paid back before or by effective.
And to answer your question, I don't know if you would call it a sunset, but this tax goes away when the debt goes away. The debt's paid off in February or March, the $5.5 million that was borrowed to cover the shortage. It has to be paid in the spring, and when that's paid, the debt service will go away. So yes, the tax will go back. The only debt that we will have after this $5 million is paid off in the spring is this Highway 82 project out here, and that's like a 30-year bond. It goes on a little bit of debt service every year on them.
So this tax increase will automatically go away in February when this $5 million is closed?
It's a one-year tax. It's for this budget year, and when you pay your taxes this fall, that tax rate will not be renewed for next year unless the Commissioner's Court renews it.
And there'll be no debt. There'll be no reason to renew it since there's no debt to apply to.
The question of dating back 20 years is part of that finger pointing, and I don't think we need to go into that tonight. That we have to be able to settle that, and a lot of discussions so far. Discussions on that started in August of 2011, and there were articles in the paper about it then. And so it's been going. It hasn't been done in secret. It isn't that we failed to talk about it or deal with it or recognize it. We started 3 years ago. We've been coming up in Commissioner's Court and being recorded in the media for the public. But it's an ongoing issue. But I think it's beyond what we're here to do tonight, is to establish whether or not it's a 20-year problem.
Mr. Smith, I can assure you that we're going to get this bull by the horn, and the responsibility is going to lie up here, and it's going to take effect right here.
Well, the voters just want some responsible government and money spent wisely, and for y'all to work together to get all of this done. You know, it boils down to being pretty simple. A lot of money, but it's pretty simple.
And we're doing exactly that. And the good thing about the way government works in America and in Texas, and that is that once you have a body like of 5 voters, after we've kicked it around and all, it comes time for a vote. And I could be wrong, but I think 4 out of 5 times, 80% of the time, all votes we take up here are 5-0 in favor. And I think you'll find that true this coming Monday morning, if you have time to attend a Commissioner's Court session. But the other, when there's controversy, is thoroughly discussed, and then there's time for a vote, and majority rules, and we move on. And we've done that now for 3 years, and I'm sure we'll do that through this budget process too. It has a timetable, and it will come to an exact vote, and exact figures.
Well, I think with what's been going on, the voters are paying a lot closer attention to what is going on up here. And they're gonna take note when it comes voting time, when y'all come up for re-election.
That's
So
good
it's
news.
time to get it straightened out.
Yeah, that's good news. And do I have to mention your name if I use that quote, taxed to the max? I make a good bumper sticker. All right. Next in order, and we're going to take these in order, and everybody's going to get their 5 minutes. If you have anything you want to say and you're not on the list, you need to go over to Rachel, my administrative assistant there on the end, and sign up. And the second round, or at the end of the first round, I'll put you on there then. Next on the list is Caroline Simmons.
That's me. I'm going to pass. I've not answered my question.
Okay. Okay, if you change your mind, you let me know. We'll give you time to get back up here. Roger Spencer from New Boston. I like your t-shirt already. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
You may begin.
I'm up here because the tax rates have already through the ceiling. And I don't mean just the county tax, I'm talking about all the taxes, especially the school taxes. Since I moved, when I retired from the Marine Corps and moved here in 1990, my taxes have quadrupled. And I haven't seen any increase in services, but some services can't be cut, since it's like the sheriff's office says. But I am disappointed in the way that our commissioners, our judge, and everybody just fails to get the message that enough is enough. You know, nobody likes to raise taxes, and we realize that sometimes it's necessary. But this time, people are going to doubt the raising of the taxes based on what's been reported in the newspapers and what they've monitored happening in this commissioner's court. So the support of the people is going away. Just telling you, it's not a good situation. That's all I got.
All right, thank you. Any response, commissioners, you want to give to Mr. Simmons?
Spencer.
Mr. Spencer, excuse me, yes. If not, our next request to speak is Vicki Wilson from Dekalb. Wilson, if you'll come to the podium. Are you ready to begin?
I ain't ready.
You may begin.
I just want the commissioners and you, Mr. Lacey, to know that I'm very opposed to the increase that has been proposed here. This is, I know that the county's in bad shape, but this should have been realized many years ago. You know, we voted, commissioners, y'all have voted for budgets for the last 2 or 3 years. And the way I'm seeing it, y'all voted for budgets that wasn't any good. You know, if you're voting for a budget that's going to be the $3 million in the hole, somebody's not doing their job. You know, and I think y'all need to look very hard before y'all raise this. People are disappointed.
All right, thank you. As most of you know, if you've ever attempted to speak at a hearing like this before, it takes a lot to get up there and speak up and speak out. And we really appreciate each one of you being here. If you'll wait just a moment. Yes, David McNeil. McDaniel, excuse me, David McDaniel, New Boston. Sir, you may
I
begin.
just got a little thing to say here. We're talking about, Mr. Smith talking about the bickering that's going on in this court. You know, if you get out and you talk to people in the community is well fed up with this. They're ready for something else to happen. If we got some commissioners up here that can't do nothing besides throw bricks at this judge, it's time we get rid of them. It's time for them to go home. It's time to do something else. Another thing, whenever we got a committee that we have to sit up here and have an advisory committee, which is nothing but a political committee, to look at this thing, the commissioners needs to go home. We hired them to do that. If they're not capable of doing it, we need to send them to the house. We need to do something else. This is just not right. This has turned into what somebody on the outside is putting a straight political push into this courtroom that people need to see. They need to see that. We got outside people that's like bulldogs attacking these people. Then we got these commissioners listening. It's time that these commissioners woke up and realized that the people that's tired of this, I mean really, really tired. And if you can't take it, you need to go to the house. And each one of you knows which ones I'm talking about. You know what you represent. You know who you do. So it's time that we do something else up here. This thing is done got out of hand. What we need to do if we want to do this, and what we're talking about money, what we need to do if we ain't got the money, we need to hire and borrow the money and get a full-fledged fraud audit for this court. And that's what we need, and we need to run it 20 years back. And if you want to do open records, you can go do your open records and you can see what the problem is. The problem is not in the last 3 or 4 years, the problem is over 20 years. You take, for instance, what the county owns. They don't own nothing. I've got all the paperwork on that building there in Texarkana. That building is well over $3 million is what it costs this county. There's 13 notes on that building. I've got them. And if people wants to sit back and be stupid and not look at the county like they need to look at it, they need to wake up. This didn't happen yesterday. They borrowed money on them buildings, put it into the general fund, rolled it over, then turned right around and borrowed money again the next year. You have paid taxes on taxes after tax for nothing. The road graders that you got in this county, you don't own nothing. All you doing is paying. Look at the last quarter, whenever their judge left office, and you'll see they paid a whole cat over $2 million down there, but what do they own? They don't own nothing. And that's what I'm telling you, the people need to look further than 3 or 4 years. They need to look at 20 years. Then they can see what's going on in this county. That's all I got to tell you. But you need to get open records and look for yourself. Don't nobody have to tell you that, sir.
All right, thank you. These are all the people that signed up. Is there anyone that's already spoken well, nobody took their whole 5 minutes, but if you've already signed up and you have something more to say, you want to come back to the podium, I'll be glad to let you do that. We don't want anybody to leave tonight without having an opportunity to have their say.
I'd like to say another thing or two.
Go ahead.
One of the things that has happened, and I didn't see Sheriff Prince until I turned around here a while ago, the decisions that y'all do and make about spending the county money affects people's lives. It affects the workers in Bowie County. It affects the taxpayers. And what I was saying a while ago is I think everybody just expects some good sound government and some wise spending. And when we don't have the money, we need to look very closely, just like I have to do in my own life and business. Just if I don't have the money, I don't spend it. The things that y'all do affect people's lives. and a lot of times on a daily basis. You know, I know that there's been cuts in some of the county employees and that kind of thing, pay cuts. Nobody ever, like I said, I took one after 25 years with the company last year. It's not fun. Just think very seriously about the condition that the county's in and what you do, how it affects other people's lives. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone that's already signed in, have any more that they want to say tonight? Yes, we'll have a response to that. To what has been said already, yes.
Yes.
I'd like to say something.
Can I say something first? Mr. Wilson, this tax is all for debt service. The budget is broken up into two different parts, INS and Mano. There is no tax increase proposed at this time for the maintenance and operating. This debt service tax is set by the appraisal district, and because of the debt that the county owes,
Right.
we're
Our
forced.
problem is the debt that the county owes.
Oh, I agree with you. I agree with you.
And why it hadn't been addressed. We didn't go $5 million of debt this year.
I agree with you. It took a while to
But
get
we,
there.
but we voted for a budget last year that was not in a balanced budget.
There's been a lot of things happen over the last few
That's
years. Inefficiencies, poor budgets, and hopefully we're getting that all ironed out and getting, people are learning to tighten their belts now. They have to. We have no choice.
Well, but I don't think y'all have done everything that you can to see if you can't get this tax rate in better shape, what you got.
We're working on it, I
And,
promise.
you know, this is what you're proposing, and I just don't think you've worked hard enough, because this is the best you can do.
Well, I just want to let, I want to let you know.
On budget and school budget.
I haven't been here long. But since I've been here, everyone has really started looking. I think everyone's starting to understand the severity of the debt, and you can only borrow so much, and then you lose your borrowing power, which we've about done. So you have to get efficient at a certain point, and that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, but this court owes it to the taxpayer and people to be doing that all along.
Oh, I agree
Not be
with you.
pushed to this limit to have to do.
I agree with you. But since it wasn't being done, there's always got to be a starting point.
Right, and now we're gonna pay for it.
Yeah, we're paying for it now, right?
Yes, we're all gonna pay for it, because y'all didn't do your job.
Including me, I'm paying for it too.
Yes, you're going.
Did we have somebody else who wanted to speak who hasn't signed up?
I have not signed up.
You need to sign up if you want to speak. It's the only way that you can speak in the hearing is you have to sign up. If anybody else wants to speak, don't wait until the last speaker's done. Get up now and go over and sign up with Rachel, so we'll run this a little smoothly and not have these races. What's that? All right. Boyd, McMillan, and Dekalb, wait just a second. You may begin.
Okay, Judge Lacey, did I understand that the increase in the taxes this year is going to only be to pay the note off that you borrowed to pay this $5 million on?
The proposed tax rate is.
Right, proposed, okay. If it passes, that's what the fund, actually fund's going to be used to pay that extra debt, right? Okay. Now, when that's paid off, you said it would roll back to what? This year's tax of 34.34, or what's it going to roll back to? I mean,
No, now, you're looking at it all wrong. As Commissioner Carter mentioned, the tax rate has two portions to it. One's for operations, one's for debt service. We don't get to set the debt service side of the tax rates.
Yeah.
That's set before us by the state through the Bowie Central Appraisal District. We turn into them the amount of money, principal, and interest we owe in the next budget year, and they give back to us within 10,000th of a cent the tax rate it will take, according to their evaluations in the county, to raise exactly that money to the dollar. Okay? And so that is the side that is set. So if we don't create a new $5 million debt, then that additional rate on the debt service side will not be there the next year. But you can't predict what's going to happen on the operations side.
Okay. Got another question. I'm sure y'all probably can't answer it, but who controls the appraisal district officials? I mean, they're out of reasoning on raising this property tax, which increases the tax rate. You can't hardly reason with them. I mean, you talk to them, but they're pretty hard nosed about the property tax rates. So, does the commissioner court rule them?
No.
No, we
Who does?
have enough votes
15-member
to
panel.
put one person, I think, on the board to represent Bowie County, the school districts in the county, the cities, now the college. All taxing entities have so many votes to help select a board, and that board guides them locally. But they are guided primarily by guidelines that are set in Austin and that are imposed upon the counties that they have to follow. So they can't just freelance what they're going to do and how they're going to ride at values. They have to follow a state formula on that. And so it's a combination of two things control Central Bowie Appraisal District. One are the rules and regulations put on them by the legislature, and the second one is the board that's appointed by the taxing districts in the county.
So y'all only have one person on the board?
We really do. It depends on how we spread our vote around. We may not even have one, but at the most we have one vote on the board.
Okay, thank you.
Emily Sabo, Texarkana, Texas.
This gentleman, I think, spoke, and he needs to speak some more.
We'll go ahead. I'm already.
Okay. I'm Emily Sabo, and I don't know where all of y'all have been, but I've been here at all commissioners' court, maybe 3 I have missed. You should have been here for all of them. This is your sponsor, Judge Sterling Lacey, of the rollback taxes. Mr. Carter, the Precinct 4 Commissioner, he's the co-sponsor. That's going to be part of your problem, is the rollback taxes. But you should have been here to Commissioner's Court so you'd really know what was going on up here. I've been here and I spoke. There's been things done that you should have been here to hear. You might know more about this. But you come in here and the Commissioner 4, Mike Carter, he tells you, well, I've just been here for a while. But you know what? He seems to have been keeping up with it. To know what to say is, he was going on about the horses got out until I told him that the horses left because they didn't like what Mr. Lacey and him were feeding on. I wish that y'all had been here before now because you sort of waited a little bit late. I can't believe you'd come in at the last minute and start in on the commissioners that are trying to do something. You can't do something when somebody can do anything they want to do and continue to do it. I mean, you think that the money situation is bad? Well, it started 3 years and 9 months ago. That's when your stuff started. The first thing that I brought up when I come up here was I went in and requested some stuff from the treasurer's office. That was Mr. Frizzell and the person that was working in there. And you know what? Judge Lacey hired her. The law plainly says you've got to go through the commissioner's court. This is a commissioner's court. This isn't the judge's court. And when they try to do something, there's always something that comes up, and you do whatever you want to do because you're going to get by with it, because the people don't come till it gets too late. Thank you.
Thank you. Before I got here this evening, I had to decide if I was going to allow some comments that perhaps took off on a tangent from the proposed tax rate. And yet, in a way, all the comments I've heard have something to do with how we got where we're at. And I had decided that since this is a public hearing, that as long as you were addressing the court, that I would allow you to have your say. And it's like an old town hall meeting. I've heard of town hall meetings where somebody made a motion and it didn't get seconded, and some fellow stood up and seconded it, and then when it came time for a vote, he voted against it. I said, well, if you're going to vote against it, why'd you second it? He said, I thought it had a right to come to a vote. And so we got to be thick-skinned enough that if somebody's not happy with us, that as long as they aren't being vindictive, as long as there's not foul language, as long as there's not prejudice expressed, things like that, then I decided tonight I was not going to interrupt the comments. And so it's extended us a little bit. We haven't been here very long, and I've run out of names already of people who have signed up to speak. Then I'll apologize for us running a little longer. Commissioners, do you have anything else you want to say?
One more.
I got one follow-up question.
Yes.
Kelly said that this increase was gonna make it $3 million. And we got a note 5.1, and we're supposed to be setting the tax rate to pay off the note. Okay, we're not doing that. Taxes aren't really any higher. If we're saying this is on the INS side, and got to be set for the INS for the debt service, but we're not even doing that. So what's going on? We're not even going to pay the note off, or what we're going to do, come in here next year and say, well, we didn't pay the note off, so we're going to increase it again for another year.
My understanding is, number one, we have no option but to pay it off. We're taxing enough to pay it off.
Okay, then we're going to be $2 million in the hole for next year. We're going to get $2 million.
No, you're paying for it this year in higher taxes.
If you're saying it's going to bring in $3 million.
3.9.
Here's what, yeah, it was closer to 4, wasn't it?
Yes, 3.9.
Here's what's unsettled and uncertain. We haven't finished this budget year. We do not know that we're going to use that entire. We borrowed more than we thought we would actually need because there was no coming back for a second time to the job. And so I think probably there's some of that calculation in there that if we don't use all of the $5 million, then there's no need to tax the whole $5 million. So there's still some variables left in this last almost 30 days of the year. But the figures amount to basically the $5 million we've borrowed that has to be paid back plus $120,000 in interest. That's what it amounts to. If we can make up some of that by the way we finish this budget year, then we will. And we'll get the relief we can.
There's still $2 million that note that hasn't been used yet. So we've only used, say, $3 million of it. We have $750,000 in a cash account that we can use. We'll probably get another $500,000 in sales tax. So at the end of September, carryover, we could feasibly have a couple $1 million to carry over into the new year. And if we don't use all of that $5 million, then we won't have to, the taxes will be what they have to be to cover the note.
This is a proposed tax rate, not the final tax rate. Now, we'll be hearing again Monday morning at 10 o'clock. Isn't that correct? Our second hearing on the proposed tax rate. Because we have another hearing we're doing ahead of that also, but at 10 o'clock Monday morning. And the reason we set this one in the evening is because there are some people that can only come in the evening. And we wanted one of the hearings to be now, and there will be one ahead of them. And there will be a hearing on September the 16th. That'll be a week from next Tuesday. And we're going to do that in central jury room because that has to do with the proposed budget. And we anticipate even more citizens coming and wanting to be involved. And so there's 2 more hearings yet to go. And your commissioners and your judge are always open for your input. You don't have to wait until a hearing to pick up the phone or come by and see us and express how you're feeling about things. You feel the same way?
Yes.
Blackburn?
Anytime.
Okay.
My cell phone number's on my business
You
card.
cannot speak unless you sign up.
I was going to ask if I could sign up, sir.
Yes, yes.
Is it
Anybody
too
can
late?
still sign up. Go over to Rachel, don't wait.
Oh, I wasn't wanting to speak, I just wanted to know if I could sign up. Sorry.
Yes, you may. You have that right.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
May I speak once again?
Let me bring you back up one. So Tom, you are wanting to speak or not?
Yes, sir.
You do have something you want to say. Let me give him a chance to have his speech. What I'm going to do is, if you signed up to speak, you're going to have to come back to the podium for any other questions or comments you have. Okay? Let's keep this somewhat formal, so it doesn't be a little too much feedback back and forth. And it's Tom Gary, and is it Maud?
Yes, sir.
From Maud. All right. Let me get my timer started. Mr. Gary, you may begin.
I would just like to say to the people that say this problem has been going on for 20 years to produce your figures. That's all I have to say.
Oh. We welcome brevity. Sir, if you'd like to come back to the podium.
In a little bit of a rebuttal on this, attending these commissioner meetings, I would love to be here more, but I'm still working. I'm approaching 70 years old and I'm still working to pay bills and pay taxes. And there's a bond of trust when the voters vote you people into office. There's a bond of trust that we trust that you're going to do a good job. Just like when we vote the sheriff in, we vote him to be the kind of law enforcement officer in this county that we expect. And when that bond of trust is broken, then you see these people come and start paying attention. A lot of people are still working and don't have time to come up here. You're going to see me a lot more often at these meetings because I'm almost semi-retired now. But I feel like as a voter that this bond of trust has been broken between the county government and the taxpayers of this county. So in order to restore that, we need to see some responsible leadership and not all this controversy going on every time we pick up the Gazette and read something about what's going on in the county. That was my rebuttal.
Thank you. Very good. We're wrapping up. Nobody new has signed up to speak. Y'all been a good audience. Commissioners, you want to respond to this last
Yeah,
speaker?
Carol, if we could meet at night, like one meeting a month, would you think that would get more people here to watch what their county government's doing?
Well, I don't know if that would help or not.
That's something that we can talk about as a
Stay
commission.
gone a lot, you know that. But, you know, this thing has gotten to the point that the people of this county they're upset about what's been going on. And we've heard different time frames about, it doesn't matter about the time frame, it is what it is, and it needs to be fixed.
everybody else is signed up?
Let me sign up, please.
Yes, now, if you're going to speak, please go over and sign up so we don't have these lulls in here. And we're ready to go. If you think you want to speak, come over and sign up.
Well, everybody sign up just in case.
We just take the attendance form. I've gone to meetings before where I told my wife I'm just going to be a mouse in the corner and not say anything. After it's all over and I'd said my piece, she said, I knew you could keep your mouth shut. Charles Vandeburg.
Thank you very much.
In what city?
I'm from Texarkana, sir, and
Texarkana. You may begin.
to the commissioners and the judge and the court, I just sit there as long as I can. In fact, I look back on the back row and there's lots of picture I didn't know was there. If I'd seen you before, I might not have come up here. But in all good faith and honesty, I wanted to come and say that most of what I've heard this evening hasn't had anything to do with the budget. That's what we're here for. Now, if we won't talk politics and fuss and complain, let's do it somewhere else. That's my thoughts. Now, that the budget is a serious thing, and it is. It's going to affect all of us. But it's been doing that for a long time. I think I've been up here for 20 years, about twice a month. And by and large, everything goes right. I personally think we've got good commissioners, and I'm serious about it. If I didn't think that, I would tell them. I'd tell any of them. I'd tell the sheriff if I thought he was doing a good job or a bad job. He's my friend, but nevertheless, we talk about things that he's responsible for, whether it's good, bad, whatever. I can talk to any of you about anything. But I would like to tell you that what I haven't heard is comments and talk about setting the budget or trying to take this proposal and do anything with it. I'm sitting over there and I don't know any more about the budget than when I first came in tonight and saw this sheet of paper, which I didn't understand. I still don't understand. So I would like to say here within my lifetime, sir, that if y'all can just talk about working on the budget, finding solutions for the budget, talk about what you have to spend, what we borrowed and what we got to pay back and how much interest we're going to pay on it. It would move things further down the road toward finding a budget we can live with while taking care of the problems that we now have. Now, whether I like you or not, or whether you've done a good job or not, that's not for me to come up here and say. I voted for you. I enlarged where I could, and where I couldn't, that wasn't into my business anyway. Except what you do for Bowie County, and that's all I want you to do. So, let's move on. What do we got to do? What kind of business we need to take care of tonight? Surely our business is not complaining, is it?
Tonight it's about taxes.
Our business needs to be about the budget. Taxes is part of the budget. Anything you want to talk about tonight really hinges on the budget, because anything else don't make any difference anyway. The budget and the taxes that the budget provides is the only thing that we need to be worried about. And I'd like to see progress in meeting on a budget matter and coming to some conclusion on it that we're going to have to live with for the next fiscal year. And that's where we're going to be locked into. And that's well and good, because we don't have a choice. When you owe money, you have to pay it. When you have expenses, you have to pay them. And when your balance is zero in one category or the other, and all these things seem like each 2 weeks I come up here, the money's either in this fund or that fund or somewhere else for one reason and then another reason. You come up here for 2 weeks and not be sure what's going on. And now I'm looking forward to y'all getting together, talking about the budgets that's proposed and find a solution to it. Let's do something about it. It pleased me to come up here in the next 2 weeks and find out more things have really been done in that budget, and this proposed budget can be a good one. we're gonna have to suffer for it, but get it over with, get it behind us, and then get on down the road. And that's all I gotta say. I appreciate y'all letting me talk.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you very much. The state divides these hearings into two sections. And for some reason or other, they first make us come together and have public hearings on the proposed tax rate. Not that that doesn't have anything in the world to do with the proposed budget, but they ask us to come back at a specific time to deal with the proposed budget. And so we're a little bit restricted tonight to talk about the proposed tax rate is a thing. And I think we've done that to some extent and answered questions about it and what's being taxed for. The proposed tax rate for the operation side of the budget, the proposed, we don't know what the final is going to be, but the proposed tax rate on the operation side is the same as this year. There's a 0% tax rate increase for operations. In fact, it's not the tax rate approved 12 months ago by the Commissioner's Court at the start of the year. This next year's tax rate for operations is the rollback rate that a majority of the citizens voting forced upon us this year. And in the proposed tax rate, the operation side is a 0% tax rate increase. It's exactly to the 10,000th of a cent, the same amount that the voters approved back in April. And so what's eating our lunch that has already come up, I think, and been talked about, is a debt that has been created and has to be paid on February 1st next year. And that's where all the increase in your taxes for this year are coming in. Anything we can do to keep from spending all of that $5 million borrowed so that we don't have to tax you for the whole $5 million, I guarantee you this Commissioner's Court is pledged to try to do in the few days we have left in this budget year. And but otherwise, it's a state formula that we're mandated. Once we borrow the money, we are mandated to tax for that, and that's where all of the increase in the proposed tax rate is involved. Well, did that stir somebody else to sign up? Everybody had a chance to have their say this evening? I think that the turnout, we've had public hearings where there had been 6 people here. And the hearing hasn't lasted 5 minutes. And I'm sorry for all the problems we're having to work on, but I am pleased with the public interest. And you're taking your time to come here this evening. And please do, you've been invited by other speakers, please do come back and sit in on as many of the hearings and as many Commissioner Court sessions as we're going to have, especially yet in this month before we get everything set for the next budget year. With that, declare the hearing adjourned at 10 minutes till 7.
Can you mention when the next tax hearing is?
Yeah, I'll mention it again. The next proposed tax hearing is next Monday morning, 10 o'clock, right here in this room.
You're welcome to come back if you think of any other questions. We'll be right back here talking about the same thing.
And the proposed budget hearing will be a week from Tuesday night at 6 o'clock in the Central Jury Room. So it'll be on the 16th of September. And we'd love to see all of you back for all the hearings. With that, we are adjourned.